It was, I think, the fifth game, 4 weeks into a new stadium that was delayed, £1 billion, state-of-the-art. Transport system hasn't quite come up to speed in relation to it. But there were horrible stories coming out, because obviously I'm reading the back and the front pages about some Ajax fans and what they had got up to. So I was kind of sidetracked with that. But I've come across, well, I didn't. The team have, actually. Online trolls have targeted a young Tottenham Hotspur fan with Down syndrome after her father shared a video of her dancing. Neil Markham shared the video of 16-year-old Ella in a new stadium after Spurs' defeat to West Ham earlier this week. But after sharing it on social media, and the reason the timing is weird because it came out yesterday when this big match was happening, is the abuse that she got online. Now, many of those who attacked the family have deleted their social media accounts after they were challenged by Neil. Spurs, the club, have said it would do its best to identify those responsible. Right, some of the things coming in. Dad challenge them. You need to answer the question. I'm getting tired of remarks from people that aren't prepared to front up. The girl in the video has a name. It's Ella. Ella is my daughter. So please clarify your smart comments. I'm sorry. This is the BBC. So the producer side here has brought me this, telling me what Dad has said in response to what's been said about the little girl. But I'm guessing a suit has decided that what they've said about the little girl isn't something that we can read out. So it would be nice, because I know that somebody screenshot it, but Twitter now have got rid of it, I'm being told. So and here's one, right, and I apologise if I upset anybody. Football is so tribal, isn't it? You put up anybody on there, people, for whatever reason, go for it. And here is a little girl with Down syndrome dancing at a match, which, if my memory serves me rightly, Tottenham lost. So some people don't get a joke, but what is your feeling? Have you seen it? But maybe you've got a child with a disability, with a challenge, with mobility issues and whatever. Do you post pictures of them online? What is the response you get as you go about your business? People stare. Do people laugh? Just tell me what it's like. Because you want to think that we're an all-encompassing, understanding, sympathetic. But are we? Are we really? That's my question for you. 81333. Start your message with the word London. Maybe you're a fan. Maybe you were down there. Maybe you noticed some of these tweets. 0800 731 2000. Emails always welcome. eddie.nestor@bbc.co.uk. Steve Palmer is a dad and blogger. He's a lot more than that. Steve used to work here. Steve has a child with Down syndrome, and Steve is the first person on this radio station about 14 years ago that I debated and came to understand a little more about the challenges and the beauty of having a child with Down syndrome. So is that a proper introduction, Stephen?
I don't know. You could be slightly nicer, Eddie.
Well, no, but
you're always too kind.
Well, yeah, but I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand it. So here's the horrible side of me. Yeah, let's get the horrible thing out first, right?
Go on.
If you take a picture of your child in a football stadium, which is so kind of tribal, regardless of whether your child is tall, short, black, white, fat, thin, or challenged in some other way, aren't other tribal members or other tribes going to have a pop?
They're just, no, the people who are doing that are just monsters and cowards. And I think it's amazing what Dad Neil did by, putting his number on or saying, let's talk about this. And look, they dissipated and they went away. What's important is the role of sports clubs within communities. So let me tell you about my experiences with Saracens and the Saracen Sports Foundation. Stanley, my son who's 17, regularly goes and does stuff with them. He dances on a club every Monday night, but was recently with his friends waving the flags before the game at the London Stadium for Saracens versus Harlequins. And they don't just put those children on the pitch, young people on the pitch, because it's something to do to brighten up a disabled person's life. I'll let them go on with the ball. No, they're part of that community. My Stanley's part of the Saracens family, a small part of the big Saracens family. And
of that I have no doubt, Steve. But take that video, and I'm not saying it's right. This is the reason you're on today is that you take that video, right, with Stanley and his mates, you take that video and you put it on as something that purports to represent Saracens, and might not other members of other rugby clubs give a view on it that you may not find altogether pleasing?
I'm not so sure what happens in rugby union, but you know, I was saying to your researcher earlier, there's a really good, if anybody's got a child there with Down syndrome, the Future of Downs on Facebook, it's a closed group. That's where you discuss all your stuff. That's where you feel really safe. But it's a closed group. We want it to be open because we want to show our young people in a situation whereby they are respected by society, not patronised, not constantly being referred to as inspirational, going to work, commuting, getting the bus. All that, I know lots of young people who are holding down day jobs. And so why, that, to my mind, that's part of the whole process. If the rest of
normal is having the mickey taken out of you for the way that
course,
you... But if you want to go for normal, then normal is having the mickey taken out of you for the way that you look.
Yeah, but I've seen some of those posts. I've seen some of those screen grabs, and it's horrible, Eddie. Really.
I know it is, and I'm only doing it to try and get you to defend it. Well, I'm glad you. I hope you do.
I'm glad. I know you're playing devil's advocate, but I still, you know, discussing it with my wife at times, post pictures of my Stanley online because I want.
What's the reaction you get then? Let's do it for real.
Generally speaking, I think possibly it's disseminated in sort of safe channels, and you're right about the football thing. But why can't we have a situation where a man takes his daughter to a stadium which has just opened and he's really proud of her, and all she's doing is having a dance? I mean, what's wrong with people?
Because they lost.
Well, because they lost. But what about my point is? What about the non-monsters and cowards who might say, "Oh well, oh that's very nice." I'm really pleased that the Spurs family have backed, you know, Ella and Neil up on this, but. You know, is everybody looking at our young people and looking at what abilities they have? Because my Stan and Neil's Ella can go to work, they can hold down a day job, you know, maybe in principle, also in practice. I know a lot of people who are doing that. So kind of my point is, why not? And this is just so horrible to hear about, because it's like, we you know... It's like
let's in our 30, so you know the gig, in the 30 seconds we've got left, let's see if we can get something positive out of it. What positivity, apart from the fact that it gives us an opportunity to speak again, Steve, can come out of it?
Well, Spurs have rounded firmly behind the family, and I know they have great work in the community, Tottenham Hotspur. They've done some football training with My Stanley, so it's a really good opportunity for sports clubs to show their mettle by getting behind the community programs and really making a difference, but not in a patronising way to young people with learning disabilities.
Look after yourself, Steve. Appreciate it very much, and I've got to say, you know, I do know Spurs do great. I had a lady who was looking after my firstborn, and they went on a community day to Tottenham, and he came home with a badge and a bag, and I was like, no! I mean, I know I'm not taking it in the way that it should be taken, but what about community events within sports? What about the way that people with challenges are treated, and what about what it says about us as a society?